Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for April 14, 2022, the Blatter to Face Trial Finally edition. And we begin with that story from ESPN as both former FIFA CEO Sepp Blatter and former UEFA President Michael Plantini will go to trial in June facing Swiss corruption charges over a payment of more than $2 million. That was made to the World Football Governing Board, or the board made to Plantini. Both parties have repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. Blatter is finally going to trial. Obviously, the former corrupt FIFA president skirted the first round of FIFA trials, but got caught up in this second. He resigned back in 2015, and Plantini followed in 2016. So Sepp Blatter finally going to trial. Next up, in a somewhat disconcerting article, Governor Newsom in California fired the lead lawyer who was going after Activision Blizzard for discrimination and harassment. The California Department of Fair Employment and Housing chief, counsel, Jeanette Whipper, was told by Newsom's office she was fired on March 29, and it was just announced today, or yesterday rather, and the department's assistant chief counsel, Melanie Proctor, resigned in protest. Early reports that Ms. Proctor, the assistant chief counsel, had accused Newsom's office of meddling in the Activision case, so pretty disconcerting out of California. Next up, in some good news, the British territory of Jersey, the Isle of Jersey, an island in the English Channel, froze assets believed to be linked to Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich, current and soon-to-be former owner of the Chelsea Football Club. They seized $7 billion in assets. So more assets of Russian oligarchs being seized. And finally, you wonder why you have supply chain issues? Well, one reason is the idiocy of the governor of the state of Texas, who decreed that all trucks coming into Texas from Mexico would have a minimum of 1-hour inspection. And so this has caused a literally miles-long backlog. It was such an idiot move that even the idiot Secretary of Agriculture said, you're hurting Texas business, you're hurting Texas consumers, and you're hurting Texas companies. So, idiot Governor Greg Abbott, stop it. But it just points up the supply chain issues that the Republicans are willing to put in place to try to hurt President Biden. So good luck, supply chain. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.